Have you ever been in a situation where your wallet was empty, your bank account almost at zero, and yet, deep inside, you still felt like this was temporary? And then there are people who may earn money, may have a job, may even look stable from the outside, but inside, they feel stuck, hopeless, like nothing will ever change. That's the difference most people don't understand. Being broke and being poor are not the same thing. And this is the story of Hamza. Hamza grew up in a small house with big responsibilities. His father passed away early, and from a young age, Hamza had to step into a role he was never ready for. He worked small jobs, supported his family, and learned the value of money the hard way. There were days when he had nothing, literally nothing. No savings, no backup, no security. He was broke. But strangely, he never felt defeated because, in his mind, this was just a phase, a temporary situation, not his identity. Hamza used to say to himself, "Today I have nothing, but one day I will have everything." People around him would laugh. They'd say, "Look at your reality. Dreams don't change anything." But Hamza didn't argue. He just kept going. On the other side of the same city, there was Salman. Salman had a stable job, a fixed income, a routine life. From the outside, everything looked fine, but inside, Salman felt trapped. Every month, he earned, and every month, he struggled. Not because he didn't make money, but because he didn't know how to grow it. Salman often said, "This is just how life is. You earn, you spend, you survive." And slowly, without realizing it, he accepted that as his truth. That's when the real difference began. Hamza was broke but hopeful. Salman was earning but mentally poor. Years passed. Hamza faced failures, lost opportunities, struggled more than most people could handle. There were nights when he slept hungry, days when nothing worked, moments when giving up felt easier than trying again. But there was one thing he never lost, his belief that things could change. So instead of complaining, Hamza started learning. He observed people who were successful. He tried small things, failed, tried again. He didn't wait for the perfect moment. He created small chances from whatever he had. Meanwhile, Salman's life stayed the same. Wake up, go to work, come back tired. Repeat. Every year he hoped things would improve, but he never changed anything. He avoided risks, avoided learning, avoided discomfort, because deep down he believed, this is my limit. And that belief became his reality. One day, after many years, Hamza and Salman crossed paths. They hadn't seen each other in a long time. Salman looked at Hamza and was surprised. Hamza wasn't rich yet, but he was different. Confidence, calm, focused. There was a sense of direction in him that wasn't there before. Salman asked the question that had been building inside him. How did you change your life when you had nothing? Hamza smiled slightly. I didn't have nothing, he said. I had belief. Salman didn't understand. What difference does belief make? He asked. Hamza looked at him and said something simple but powerful. Everything. He paused and then continued. Being broke is temporary. It's a situation, but being poor is a mindset. It's when you stop believing that things can change. Those words hit Salman harder than he expected, because for the first time, he saw himself clearly. He realized that even when he had money, he was thinking like someone who would never grow. He was avoiding change, avoiding risk, avoiding responsibility. And slowly, he had built a life where nothing ever improved, Hamza continued. When you're broke, you look for ways to rise. You stay hungry. You stay curious. You take risks. But when you're poor, you look for excuses. You stay comfortable. You avoid growth. Salman sat quietly, because deep down he knew which one he had become. The truth is, being broke is painful, but it can be powerful because it forces you to think, to act, to change. But being poor is dangerous because it feels normal. It feels safe. It keeps you stuck in the same place without even realizing it. Hamza didn't become successful overnight. It took years of struggle, learning, and failure. But every step he took moved him forward because his mindset was focused on growth, on possibility, on change. Salman, on the other hand, stayed the same. Not because he couldn't change, but because he didn't believe he could. And that's the difference most people never understand. Money comes and goes. Situations change. Opportunities appear and disappear. But mindset decides what you do with all of it. You can be broke today and rich tomorrow. But if your mindset is poor, even if you become rich, you will lose it because you'll return to the same patterns, the same thinking, the same limits. So the real question is not, how much money do you have? The real question is, how do you think about money, life, and yourself? Because that answer will decide everything. Hamza once stood in a place where he had nothing, but he refused to stay there mentally. Salman had stability, but he stayed stuck mentally. And in the end, that made all the difference. Because being broke is just a chapter, but being poor becomes the whole story. And the moment you understand that, you realize something powerful. Your situation doesn't define you. Your mindset does.